Okay, this is going to be a short little video on how to make some sugar-free sugar cookies. Actually, don't use normal flour. I'm going to be using almond flour instead of the sugar. I'm going to be using the monk fruit with the erythritol. And what can I tell you about them? Well, it makes a dozen cookies. They're quite large, they're quite thick, they'll be chewy. I have written down here somewhere, I'm trying to find it right now. So it comes out to about 210 calories per cookie if you make a dozen of them, and less than 1 carb. So if you're diabetic or if you're on a keto diet, these are a good way to go if you want something sweet that you can eat that's not going to add carbs, it's not going to add sugar. And these ones are still baking. Trying to take a look, see if they're about where I like them. They're about ready. Anyway, you're going to need 2 mixing bowls. In the first bowl, we're going to mix all our dry components. That's going to be 3 cups of the almond flour, a half a cup of the sweetener, just a pinch of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And for all you guys that maybe aren't cooks, teaspoon is the small one, not the big one. And then in your second bowl, you're going to mix all your liquids. We're going to start with just, well, let me show you. Because again, a lot of you guys watching this aren't cooks and don't know. We're going to get some butter. And you can see on the butter, they actually have them marked off in numbers. You're just going to take 2 of these tablespoons. You just cut right there and pre-melt that into a bowl so it's in a liquid form. And then once it's liquid form, but not super hot, just warm, you know, going to go ahead and put in 1 tablespoon, now that's the large one, of vanilla, and 2 large eggs. And mix all that together really well. Mix all the dry stuff together really well, because you want all the sugar and the almond flour mixed together. But most importantly, you want to make sure the baking powder is dispersed in all the dry stuff. And just dump all the dry stuff into the 2 liquid things that we just got prepared. Stir it around with whatever your favorite utensil is, but clean your hands. You're just going to have to get in there and work it with your hands. You're going to have to knead it down until it's a clay-like dough consistency. Then I found, in my case, I had these little measuring cups left over, I think from a protein powder thing or something. But I fill each one of these up with some of the dough and just drop them right onto the baking tin. I don't put anything on the aluminum baking pan. And that measures it out when I do it that way, where I'll get 12 equal little cylinders of that. And once you get them on there, cylinders, just take your hand and flatten them down into a cookie shape, however thick you enjoy them. And just get these out and let them start cooling. I'm baking at 350, and generally it takes about 10, depends on your pan. If I use this pan up here, which I've had for 20 years, it only takes about 10 minutes. If I use this pan, which is much heavier metal and has a anti-stick coating on, which I'm not thrilled about, it takes about 12 minutes. I think because the pan takes longer to heat up because the metal is so much thicker. But that's the best way I know to make a very yummy, very soft and chewy. Tastes just like any other sugar cookie, except you don't have the sugar. Extremely low carbs, almost not worth mentioning. And at 210 calories per cookie, it's no worse than any other cookie that you're going to make. In fact, it's a lot lower in many cases. So make them, enjoy them. I'll put the recipe in the description down below.